I'm taking this game to the next level. Only the idiots who can keep up with me will be able to witness what comes next.
If you want to know why the world is so evil and satanic, you come to the right video. Pay close attention to what I'm about to tell you. Look around. There's metal in the air we breathe, in the water we drink, in the food we eat, in the products we use every day. It's everywhere, like gravity. It's invisible, but you can see the effects, shaping the minds of most people without noticing. There are two core components of the program: frequency and metal. Frequency is the signal, the mind is a receiver. There are metals in your body. Metals is what allows the signal to function. In the movie They Clone Tyrone, the film suggests that sound can be used to keep people pacified, unhealthy, and obedient. The idea isn't new. Music is frequency, and frequency affects how people feel and respond. But what isn't talked about is how frequency interacts with metal, the metal that's everywhere around us, in the air, in our environment, and inside our body. They became so confident in what frequency and metal can do to the human body that they created an entire genre built around it. Heavy metal. It's more to the name they're telling us. The program jump-started in the year 1960, along with heavy metal music, with Metallica's first debut album, Kill 'Em All. They were already saying it out loud what they were intended to do to us. Still not convinced that heavy metal is their genre? Remember the T-1000 in Terminator? Liquid metal? What form did it take? A cop. Why did the T-1000 take form of a cop? Because the cops conduct the Gangstalking program. Cops are considered liquid metal. What you see them do? They know how to find you or get people to find you. They change shape. They can be anybody. They change people's minds, literally. It's all a metaphor. It's all about control using these metals. Still not convinced? Take a look at Metallica. What does the Metallica logo look like? A game controller. PlayStation. They're playing people, controlling them, telling them what to do, what to say. Why are they so obedient? Metallica. They're riding the lightning. What lightning? The electrical signals in the brain, using the metals to map out an interface of a person's thought process. It's called interface for a reason. They're in people's head, in their minds, talking to them, harassing them, seeing what they're seeing, instructing them to do things. If you think the technology don't exist, you are surely mistaken. If you take a look at this Metallica cover, they're telling you, masters of puppets. Sending who to the grave? I haven't figured it out yet. Christ people or just people in general. But they're playing with people's minds, inducing psychosis, making the mind a battlefield, and people are tired. They're suffering from fatigue, but are told to keep going, like robots. Terminator. Still not convinced? Take a look at this Metallica cover. Hardwired to self-destruct. They're telling us, when you are in this program, people are hardwired to hate you, hardwired to sacrifice their life for yours. It is these metals that's fucking with people's head and making people mental, mad. You see how they was dressing at these bands? This is what they're turning people into. They were showing us freaks, perverts, demons, monsters. When Morpheus and Trinity was looking for Neo, they went to the club to meet the Mayor Vinci. You see how they was dressing? The same way. And what this party is really called is a rave. Guess what the definition of rave is? To show signs of madness. Everywhere that T.I. go it is this. A party. A rave. It's metal. It's meant to drive you crazy. It's the metals. Heavy metal music is called a band. They call it a band because it's short for bandwidth, brain pattern, impulses. They're changing people entirely. Change starts with the thinking. The program is just them outsourcing cruelty. Outsourcing cruelty is a term used by human rights advocates, legal scholars, and civil society organizations to describe the practice by governments, corporations, politicians, law enforcement in which transferring responsibility for actions that involve inhumane, cruel, or degrading treatment to other entities to bypass legal or moral obligation. Evil doesn't need to get its hands dirty. It convinces ordinary people to do the work for it. As the TI lives, the ritual becomes repetition for them. Repeating insults, repeating exclusions, repeating humiliation, repeating lies until they feel like truth. How they get other people on with this ritual? Through belonging. We're the good ones. Moral permission. They deserve it. Diffuse responsibility. Everyone's doing it. No one sees themselves as evil. Each person plays a small part. One laughs, one shares gossip, one look away, one joins in just a little. No single person feels guilty, yet the harm is massive. If people believe harm is preventative or righteous, then harassment feels like protection, bullying feels like exposure, dehumanization feels like duty. 10 years in, public shaming increased. Mob behaviors feel ethical. Compassion is reframed as weakness or infiltration. People don't think they're doing bad. They think they're necessary. The frequency is what keeps them the way they are. You got to be at a certain frequency to participate in gangstalking because the frequency is what synchronizes people together. Frequency regulates neurotransmitter synthesis. And when you add metals, you can monitor or change neurotransmitter synthesis, specifically serotonin and dopamine, that regulates mood and reward. Epigenetic synthesis that alter gene expression in response to the environment. And mental synthesis, imaging, or planning, these processes fundamentally shape brain functions and action over time. Repetition is the name of the game. What are the reasons for this? It is to condition everyone to believe that evil or bad is everywhere and everyone is a threat. That belief quietly does more damage than any enemy ever could. It atomizes people because their belief rewires how connection works at the most basic level. Connection requires assumed goodwill. Every human bond starts with an unspoken assumption. This person probably doesn't want to harm me. You don't prove that first, you assume it lightly. When the belief becomes evil is everywhere and everyone is a threat, that assumption is revoked. So conversations become guarded, vulnerability feels reckless, warmth feels unsafe. Without assumed goodwill, connections never get off the ground. No bridge equals everyone for themselves. It turns the mind into a battlefield. Once that belief take hold, the brain never get rest. Every interaction becomes a scan. Was that look hostile? Why did they say it like that? Who else knows? That doesn't feel like fear. It feels like alertness. But long term, it can exhaust the nervous system, erode joy, narrow perception. They want to burn you out. They want to tear your mind down, man. They want you working overtime worrying about them and what they got going on. They want you in fear. You're no longer living in the world, you're defending against it. It isolates people without needing cages. The most effective prison don't have bars. If you believe closeness is dangerous, trust is weakness, neutrality is fake, you'll isolate yourself voluntarily. A lot of us as TIs, we do that. I think that's the basic package. Isolation. And the tragic part, isolation then confirms the belief. See, I'm alone because the world is hostile. That loop is brutal. This kind of evil isn't the movie villain kind. It's quieter and way more effective. This type of evil is corrosive evil. Not destructive in one strike, corrosive over time. And what does metal do? When corroded, it rusts. What happened to the mind? It corrupts. It's the metals in the environment. It doesn't attack the body first, it attacks relationship, meaning, and trust. That being said, toxicity is about doses or levels. It's an evil of fear amplification. Why you think the perps say be safe? They're in fear, trying to push fear on you, trying to make you live in fear. It's fear amplification. Everything that's going on is meant to amplify fear. If you're not in fear, someone trying to push that on you. See, the degradation of technological advancement, urban suffocation, disassociation with nature, bombardment with harmful EMF frequencies, bombardment of the 24-hour news cycle, all of these impacts on the psyche is to cause mass inflicted trauma. In Programmed to Kill, you know that show with Dave McGowan, he suggests the entire serial killer phenomenon, and by extension, mass shootings, is engineered explicitly to fulfill this purpose. There's a killer in every street, maybe in your own home. In the case, The Exorcist, your mind, soul isn't safe. You can be possessed. He quotes suggesting back in the 1974 that this was effectively the importation of psychological warfare program Operation Phoenix to the US. They don't want you to think like this. Harm exists, but it isn't omnipresent, and I can learn to recognize it without surrendering my life to it. They don't want you to be thinkers, clear-minded, and have time for self-reflection so that you can outthink their computers and their metals that they have in you, because anything man-made can be conquered with the mind. You are way stronger than you think.
The battle that you're in right now, that you're in against, is a lot of Freemason Satanists, law enforcement, paramedics, fire department. They're all Freemason Satanists, and these are the people causing you the biggest amounts of trouble. That's why you've noticed if you try and file a police report or something, nobody cares because they're the ones doing it. So now, unfortunately, we're dealing with a society and a world that's run by Satan and satanic demons. So this is a lot to take in, but you have to understand, you know what you're up against. You know what you've gone through. And I talk to people that for over 25 years have been targeted individuals and had home invasions and all these different things. The local law enforcement in my area too, they break into your house, they do certain things, the fire department, paramedics, and all these idiots. There's a direct relation between the Freemasons of these different areas, and 95% of law enforcement are Freemason. You're against covens of people in Masonic lodges that sit around and do blood rituals, and a lot of these individuals are directly tied into human trafficking and some of the biggest abuses of the world. That's why it's so difficult to bust them sometimes, because they use the paramedics, fire department, and these different Freemasonry tools to go against the public, just like they are against you. Stingray machines and all the abuses of the law enforcement tools they're using against you to come against you. And I want you to know there's a select few people doing this, so it's not like you have the whole world against you. It's a bunch of these corrupt, idiot police, fire departments, paramedics, and these other morons that are doing this to you. So however you got on the list and got targeted, these are the people doing it. They want you to think the whole world's against you, but it's not. It's just a bunch of morons. There's covens of people, Freemasons, that get together, do satanic practices, and there's actually witchcraft being used against you.